All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the Link Cable podcast. The best way, at least we say so, to stay linked on all things gaming. So I'm one of your hosts, Alex. I'm joined today by Zahi, Kevin, and a special guest, Jaren. Hi, Jaren. So we're going to be talking about all things gaming. Before we get into that, Kevin, where can our viewers find us?
Thanks for asking, Alex. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. And you can come chat with us, you can come follow us, and you can hit that like button and all that fun stuff.
So, come join us on the live chat. We'll be chatting along and reading everyone's comments during the show. So we really want to get everyone engaged and get talking about our show for today, episode 4.
Yeah, A New Hope. Probably the best Star Wars movie.
We're already talking about it. You guys missed the pre-show where everybody nerded out about Star Trek and Star Wars but me because I don't know anything about any of it. So that's going to bleed into this show now. So good luck.
So it's either A New Hope or The Voyage Home, which is also a very good Star Trek movie. But anyway, we'll start a sci-fi podcast at some point. But this week we're going to be talking about all things gaming. So a couple of topics we want to look at. Battlefield 5, EA has announced that it's not getting any new content after June 2020. What could that mean? We'll discuss that. Microsoft's starting to really ramp up the talk about the Xbox Series X, going as far as confirming that, it's coming out this year. You don't have to worry about that. But the games, shrug, we don't know. And then we're also going to discuss Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the new Assassin's Creed game that was announced last week, something like that. We're going to talk about what's going to be different about that one. But before we get into all that, let's go around the I guess virtual table and see what everyone's been playing this week. So Zahi, I'll throw it over to you. What have you been playing this week, man?
So actually, a really fun thing. I've been watching our Star Trek conversation is because I've been watching a lot of Star Trek Discovery with my brother. So for some crazy reason, I just got back into a real sci-fi vibe right now, and actually I reinstalled Mass Effect Andromeda. Every time I play that game, I just get to a certain point in time where I play it, I love it for the time I'm in it, and then I'm like, okay, this game is just dragging on way too much, and I stop.
Hold on. You just opened up a whole can of worms there. So let's talk about that game for 2 minutes. What is with this game? I've heard it's garbage, trash. Don't play it. It doesn't even follow everything. And there was all this crap that was wrong with it when it came out. I own the game. I had to play it because I was a little bit hesitant. So give me a 20-second pitch and why I should play this game.
Andromeda is basically a nice B story. It's set in the Mass Effect universe, so it has a lot of basically the exact same elements that are in Mass Effect, just with a bunch of different characters, different setting, different environment. It's basically not... I like that the characters are kind of not your Chad, Commander Shepard, I'm gonna save the galaxy and defeat the Reapers. It's kind of... I personally find Mass Effect Andromeda is kind of like a more exploratory. It's essentially more of a voyage in space and kind of discovering, and it's more of a...
Is it still really buggy?
It is not as buggy anymore, and the facial animations are... It's not as buggy.
It's not as buggy. I played it about 6 months ago, though, Kevin, and you're still clipping through things. And,
it's weird, and sometimes the movements are a little janky.
What are you playing?
But I like that Andromeda has PS4.
Okay. PS4. And is that a regular PS4 or Pro?
No, PS4 Pro, and it still looks pretty good. So I just kind of got this Star Trek-y space exploration theme that kind of hit me. So I'm like, let's download up Mass Effect Andromeda. So that's been what this time I'm near the end of this game, and I just want to beat it. I've replayed Mass Effect the series 12 times. It gets great. No, that's an exaggeration. But I beat it on PS3. I beat it on 360. Then back on PS4, and once on PC, and once with my friend, and then once again with my brother, and another time as a renegade. So I've lived Mass Effect. I love that series. Wow. So I just want to play that. And actually, the other game I got really into this past week was Overwatch. Overwatch introduced its new character Echo, and one of my friends is a Diamond player in Overwatch, so we've just been having a lot of fun and playing some of that. And he got me to try out the new character Echo, which is a really high DPS but squishy as heck character, so she's really fun to play. But right now, with the changes they made in Overwatch, where it's role queue, she's a damage archetype, and everyone who wants to play her has to roll into damage and not tank or healer. So the damage queue is exceptionally high, whereas tank and healer are less than 2 minutes to find a game. So I've been playing a lot of tank and healer.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Have you guys ever played Overwatch, actually?
Jaren.
Years ago. Yeah. I think I might have played with Kevin.
Wait, I thought you didn't have it. I feel like we've argued about this, and I tried to get you to buy it, and you said no.
So I got it in Humble Bundle way after it was cool everyone was in it, and then
when I was playing it, I begged you. I was like, I'm not playing that.
Cool
I don't
game.
need to play this game, blah, blah, blah. And
play a good game.
Go play those stupid turn-based civilization type games instead.
No, I just got it way too late after everybody had jumped to like PUBG or whatever came after that, right? Like everybody,
Fortnite
just found something else. Or one of those other Blizzard Activision type games I think came along and everybody jumped onto that instead of that. So that's all.
I've never played Overwatch, but I do really like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Overwatch?
I want to move on. I don't want to talk about that.
Wait, this is so... How have you never played Overwatch?
I don't like the new Blizzard. I haven't liked a Blizzard game in over 10 years.
How do you know? You've never played it.
Hey, I'm there with
them
him.
in general, and I was just like, oh, Blizzard made a shooter. Great, I'm going to go play a different shooter because I don't like their games.
Okay,
I'm not saying Diablo 3. Not even Diablo 3.
I hate Diablo.
What?
I can't stand that series.
Same here. We're like...
What the heck?
I don't like dungeon crawlers in general. On the website, every time I have to review a dungeon crawler, I always like to preface it with, I don't like these types of games. I am reviewing it on its merits.
Jaren, how many times have I begged you to try to play a dungeon crawler?
I did not enjoy my time.
I love dungeon crawlers.
Kevin tried to get me into a dungeon crawler like 2-3 years ago.
Not just one.
Many of them. And so he talked me into getting Grim Dawn. And I played it for like an hour. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this Grim Yawn. Like, I just Grim Yawn, uninstalled it, moved on. And Kevin's like, I love this kind of stuff.
It's the best game. You can just play, you dungeon crawl, you get a drink, you talk to your friends, it's casual, it's great.
Yeah. There's only one dungeon crawler that I was able to be like, I had fun with this, and it was one of the Shin Megami Tensei games, and I'm a big JRPG gamer. I love JRPGs, and it was enough of a JRPG that I could stand the dungeon crawling. To come back to it, I really do like Mass Effect Andromeda. I've never played it, but I love.
I was just gonna ask, yeah.
Oh no, I've never played it, but I love that I can use it as a go-to GIF to make fun of it every single time. You just type in Mass Effect Andromeda in like the little Giphy bar, and like boom, you have a million GIFs. It's perfect.
Not where I wanted this conversation to go. This is hurting a little bit.
It's the best game to make fun of other games with.
Oh God. Thanks, Alex. Support.
No problem. Kevin, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Were you done that with that, Zahi? I know we kind of...
Yeah.
I totally derailed your whole thing.
One last little thing, actually, to note. I've been just playing a few new games this week. What's it called? I actually installed Hollow Knight as per the recommendation of our host from last week. So I was, because he had said to try it out. So I played it. Yeah, Jeff, and I was actually quite enjoying it. It's been a little bit fun. It's Dark Souls-esque, but it's got these weird little cute little insect things, and I like it actually. It's kind of nice and somber. So those have been my 3 for this week.
Cool. So I'm trying not to repeat the same 3 or 4 games I play every week, but I am kind of still doing the same. I'm almost done with Kingdom Hearts 3.
I was gonna say Kingdom
Jesus.
Why does everyone make fun of me? Kingdom Hearts is a fun game. It's a good game.
Comments.
I'm trying to finish it up. I'm the very last boss. I will probably finish it tonight after this. My thoughts have not changed from the last few weeks when I've talked about it. It's pretty good, not great, but it's still fun. I had, God, what did I played a lot of WoW, but I'm trying not to talk about that again every week because it's the same game I've mentioned.
I know. I'm trying not to talk about FF7.
Yeah, it's like some of these games, it's like I'm playing the same thing over. There's not much new that's out. I am playing that SnowRunner game, which is going to be the game that I'm going to try and do a review on. So I'm fairly surprised by that game. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a lot more fun than I thought. I don't know if you guys have seen any previews for the SnowRunner game or know anything about it.
I played Mud Runners. Not enough to be like, oh, I'm good at this game or know what I'm talking about. But I was like, oh, this is a dumb fun game. I
went and bought Mud Runner. It was on sale on the Switch on the eShop, so I bought it there. I was like, this is like a fun little stupid game to like dick around in. So I played it on there before SnowRunners came out just to get an idea of what the whole series was because I didn't know very much. So I played that for maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours on the Switch, and then jumped to playing SnowRunner on my PC. Totally different game, way better looking. One of the levels, like the world, takes place in Michigan, which is kind of cool. So I kind of feel like I'm like, oh, that's my place, even though it's like way up north and nowhere near me. But it's still kind of cool.
Snowy wasteland.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I'm
a lot of militia types up there too.
Yeah, says the Canadian.
I am not good at the game at all. It is very difficult. Like this is like Dark Souls difficulty level. I just keep flipping my damn Jeep, and then I can't do anything because I don't have the autonomous wench to pull me back. So, yeah.
Wait, winches are autonomous now?
Well, you can get... So, if your engine stalls, you can't, like, pull yourself on... You can usually attach to a tree. So, you have to buy...
Oh, a winch.
Wait, what did I say?
Okay. You said wench. I was like, is this like a pirate game with a Jeep? I don't know what's going on.
Autonomous wenches. They be pulling ye out.
That's what I meant. So that's been a very interesting game and very different. And I've been very frustrated with it because it's very, very slow moving. And you have to get your vehicle across the map to pull like an old tanker out of the mud. And then you get all the way there and you flip your car and now you have to go all the way back to the garage and restart over. So it's definitely had me frustrated. Like I said, I've been playing...
What's that? Is that the game without an inventory management system? I heard... I don't know if it's that game.
No, I mean, there's no inventory. You just have a bunch of vehicles and like a garage and stuff. And you can customize it. And like, I don't know anything about cars, so it's like, I'm like, this engine seems better. The stats look better. I don't know. So... And there's like 3 different sets of all-terrain tires. I'm like, what's the difference? I don't know. I'm like, give me the cheap ones. This is like real life. Also been playing a lot of Hearthstone, playing a lot of WoW, so playing all my Blizzard games, which apparently you guys all hate.
I'm for it, man. I'm for it.
StarCraft 2 is good.
And I'm coming to that point where I'm starting to finish all the games I'm playing at once and need to start the next like big game I'm going to play. So I'm thinking it's going to be Uncharted 4. So
nice.
I haven't played that yet. I think I'm going to jump into there. Oh, I did buy Trials of Mana for Switch. I did.
Nice.
I did get it. Haven't opened it, so that'll be probably next week. I'll jump into that. Give you my thoughts.
I played the demo for Trials of Mana. It's a very good game. I didn't say this, but someone else on the internet was quoted as saying, "Trials of Mana is what the Final Fantasy VII remake would have been if it was a shot-for-shot remake of Final Fantasy VII."
Okay, that's fair.
Because it's a full 3D remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, which is Trials of Mana, the Super Famicom game.
That's awesome.
It's a very cool game. I only played the demo through the demo, but your save files will carry over. So once I do pick up the full game, I'll pick up from there. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I think you're going to be in for a good adventure. Quick recommendation: please set the voice acting to Japanese. The English voice acting is just atrocious.
It's that bad.
It is some of the worst localization I've ever heard. Like it's gratingly bad.
Wow.
So I switched over to Japanese, which I don't speak Japanese. It was a little like easier on the ears. But I could not stand the English voices in that game.
Jeez. Wow, okay, so that was... Oh, there was one more game I played, I remembered. I played Splatoon 2. I played that for about an hour or two with some friends. They've added a lot to that game. There's a lot of different weapons to play with, and it is a little overwhelming, so I think I'm going to try to get back in there a little bit to kind of just pick up some of the new stuff they've added. And, that's it. That's pretty much all I did play Borderlands 3. That's what every week I go to talk about this game, and I never remember. I played Borderlands 3. It's weird. I can't get on the show and I forget everything I'm playing. So yeah, Jaren's laughing because him and I share Steam libraries, and
you were salty this week.
I was really crabby. So I was trying to play Borderlands 3 with Jeff, our previous host from last week, and another one of my friends, and I could not get us connected on Steam. It just kept saying could not connect, and it's like NAT issues and all these things. So we were pissed. We finally set time aside to go and play together. Couldn't do it. I'm messaging Jaren. I'm like, in like other group chats and people I know. I'm like, does anyone have problems with this game? What's going on? Jaren's like, oh, I was just playing it. He's playing my copy on Steam. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that's who's screwing this all up. But it wasn't him. It was just an issue. All of us were having it. So we waited. Me and Jeff looked through it. We're trying to do port forwarding and all this stuff they're suggesting, and we just gave up. The next day it just worked. It was just something going on.
You're just wrecking your firewall on the rest of your computer probably, just to be able to load this thing.
I'm like, well, this guy in a message board said to try it, so I guess I should.
Yeah.
So
ask Yahoo.
Yeah, I've really been liking
Borderlands Ask Jeeves.
Yes, Jeeves. I don't know if any of you guys have played Borderlands 3 and anything. It's been out for about a year or so now.
I've been wanting to play Borderlands 3. I don't know. I was really hyped for it before it came out. With all the litigations and scandals that went with it, it kind of died down my excitement, my personal excitement for the game.
Yeah, but I know a lot of that came out with the Randy Pitchhead or whatever his name is and all that crap.
Yeah.
I don't care. I like the series. There's too many people to work on it to judge one person's actions about it. I'm happy I'm playing it and I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely.
And the very last game, I know I'm going on and on, but I'm certain to remember all this. Jeff gifted me a game called Hades. Has anyone heard of this game or played it?
Yeah. Hades?
Yes. It's a roguelike game-ish where you run through stuff and then you die and you start over. And every time you run through it, you become a little bit stronger and you get different weapons. And every time you go through, it's a whole... It's very much like Dead Cells, but I actually like it a lot better. It's not as hard as Dead Cells, but it's still fairly challenging. So I'm playing through that. I play probably a level or so every day or whatnot. So yeah,
I'd like to play Dead Cells. I've heard that was quite interesting.
That is good, but it is very tough. So that's what I played this week. Jaren, do you want to jump to you? See what you can.
Yeah, sure.
How about?
So I definitely. Yeah. No, we'll get to that later. So I was playing Kevin's copy of Borderlands 3, like we already said. If you've ever played Borderlands 2, Zahi, it is basically.
Yeah, I love it.
An HD texture for Borderlands 2 is Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
I waited the year because I refused to buy anything on the Epic Games Store for political reasons. I'll just say that. I don't buy anything on the Epic Games Store. So when it came out on Steam, it was still buggy, and it's still buggy to this day. But I have an RTX 2080. I should be getting higher than 30 frames a second. And no matter what settings I put it to, they did not change the frame rate at all. I'm like, there's no difference between ultimate or very low. There's something wrong here with the optimization. So I had uninstalled it, and then a month later, I see good old Kevin here happens to pick it up. So I'm like, I guess I'll play it for free. There you go. And whatever patches they've done in the meantime, I can get playable frame rate now. That's so it's a fun adventure. But if you've played Borderlands 1 and 2 and the pre-sequel,
yeah,
it's more of the same. I mean, there's a new story, sure, if you're into the story.
Yeah,
but
to me, it's the perfect, just like, I mean, it sounds like a lot of you guys
popcorn game.
What's that?
Popcorn game.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun to grab some friends, just, shoot the shit in the headsets and just figure out what's going on with everyone's world. And, it's not like it's some competitive, I'm so concerned about what's going on in the game. It's a good social game.
I'm playing it on medium or hard, and it's easy.
Well, there's
the game
there's
itself,
a lot of difficulties
easy.
From what I hear. It's like Diablo, where it's like you can keep going higher and higher and higher. So, I don't know, it's pretty good. Keep playing it. I'm curious to see what you'll think. What level did you get to, remember? Or what level was your
I'm
character?
at like level 15. Yeah, my character's like level 15.
It's right about where we're at, I think, is where we're playing through, so that's good.
Yep. And then, let's see. I didn't play it this week, but I played the new Doom. Loved it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loved it.
Says that.
Very well optimized. I had to actually stop myself and only play like an hour or two at a time because it's one of those games where it only comes out every 5 years. And you really just want to enjoy the experience. You don't want to rush through it. In the age of just binging like The Witcher in a day, binging Breaking Bad seasons, like the whole series in a week, you really just want to savor it and pace it out. So if there's an expansion that's coming or anything like that, I'm definitely going to pick it up. It's worth a replay. Some people said they like 2016 better. I think the gameplay is much more refined in this one. I will say
it should be, at least.
Yeah. The multiplayer though is completely forgettable. So if you're really looking for multiplayer, it's got one game mode, and that's not team deathmatch or deathmatch. So
it's like that 2-on-1 kind of enemy thing with a demon and
two demons and the Marine. And so you're kind of playing like a cat and mouse type thing. It's okay as one game mode, but you need a lot more to really get anything out of multiplayer. So just go into it knowing it's going to be a single player experience. You have a lot of fun. So,
do you think they'll add more? Sorry to cut you off. Do you think they'll add maybe more multiplayer elements to Doom potentially in the future? I'm curious myself.
From a cynical point of view, I think they will, because Bethesda is really in a world of hurt with all their other properties that have flopped in the last year. So, and that's a whole podcast in and of itself. But from a cynical point of view, I think they'll see that Doom did really well, and they're going to keep rolling out content for it. And it might be nickel and dime DLC, hopefully not. But I think there's something in the pipeline for sure.
And I feel you when you were saying, it's not in the age of binge watching TV and binge watching The Witcher and stuff. Like, not to bring up Final Fantasy VII Remake again, but I'm doing it. Hell yeah! A huge part of me wants to just blaze through that game and beat it start to finish like the good old days. But I think I've started to take a step back and enjoy the experience more so than just I want to binge the game as fast as I can. So I get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Let's see, the last kind of two games I've been playing, Star Trek Online. I've been playing that for over 10 years. I don't give any money to it. I guess I'm just leeching off of them, but ever since Perfect World, another kind of, I don't know if they're owned by Tencent, but it's another overseas company that charges you like $50 for their top tier ships and stuff. And I know it's a monetary scheme, they want you to buy the stuff so that way the servers stay on. I get it, but if I can play it for free and get what I want done and have fun with it, play it for a half hour a day, cool. That's all I need, And then last but not least, I've been taking a break from Civilization and EU4, and I've been playing World of Warships a ton. That one's another free one. I don't know if any of you have ever played any of the World of
No, unfortunately.
I played tanks for, I would say a few months.
Okay, so it's basically tanks, but with ships instead. And what I like about that is it's a free-to-win game. So, like, the only thing that you can really pay for are cosmetics, or if you want to get more XP at a faster tick rate. And once you go like level 1 through 10 on the ships, like how quality tier they are, a bunch of different world navies. Right. But the ships themselves don't get any better if you pay for the game, if you pay for a premium or you buy the extras. They're just more they have the ability to go from level 1 to level 10. If you play free, it's quite a grind. Once you get after like tier 5 or tier 6, which I assume World of Tanks is kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But you would never know who's actually paying for the game when you go into like your PvP matches. So, and that's just a fun game. You're sitting there at night, maybe with a little adult beverage, and just sit there and play through it. So,
yeah.
Awesome. But anyway, yeah. So
very nice. Yeah, I've been, for myself, this has been a very quiet time for gaming for me. Not that I'm not playing. I'm playing a lot of games, but they're kind of smaller games. So I'm doing like, I guess, my dailies in Animal Crossing, going through, getting my money, making my bells, making my town or island a little nicer. New Altopia, by the way. It was Altopia in New Leaf, and now it's New Altopia.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, and in City Folk it was Alville, and then in the OG Animal Crossing, it was Alberg. So I'm very creative.
Alex,
is what I'm trying to get across.
Alex, amazing! I love all of them.
Yeah,
Altopia.
New Altopia. It just fits in there. I couldn't put in the space, which kind of annoys me, but like it just fit into the character limit, so I was happy with that. But anyway, I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and I'm going back and playing a lot of retro games. So we were talking about it a bit in the pre-show, but I'm pretty much ready to show off and start using my my retro gaming room. So I just bought a new shelf. It is the last piece that hasn't shown up yet. So as soon as it's set up, it'll actually be behind me and not this slab of concrete. But I've been going back and I plugged in my NES. I was like, oh, I'll play a bit of Super Mario Brothers 3. Oh, I plugged in my Super Nintendo. Oh, I got to play A Link to the Past for a little bit. So just going back to those old games. One thing that I thought is really cool is all my games, this is lucky, this won't last forever, I know, but all my save files are still there. So the batteries and my old copies of Zelda on NES, Link to the Past, all my save files are still there. So I was just I was going through my cartridges and taking pictures to remember, because once those batteries die out, I'm like, oh look, I still have my save file there and everything.
I saw your setup on the tweet you did with all that. You have a CRT and all that still set up there. It was neat. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blank canvas right now. I got to fill it in. So all my consoles, I'm taking them out of storage and giving them a good scrubbing. So the NES and the Super Nintendo are done. I got the N64, the PlayStation. I got to get those guys all set up. But it's going to be a really nice. It's going to be a little nice gaming spot. But this is all on purpose. I'm doing this on purpose because at the end of the month, there's a certain game coming out, and anyone who follows me on wherever I talk about games, usually on Twitter or just my articles on Link Cable, know that I am a huge fan of Xenoblade Chronicles. It might be my favorite game of all time. I've only gone through it in its entirety once. I've played different parts of it multiple times, but from start to finish, I did it one time. And it had such a big impact on me. And the definitive edition is coming out on May 29th. So even though my copy of Final Fantasy VII is still delayed, it still hasn't shown up yet. That's been
since episode 1 we've been talking. I'm sorry, episode 0 we've been talking about that, and it's still not gotten to you.
It's bad.
Every so often I'll look at other online stores. I want a physical copy. I've already gone over this, but yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you my copy, man. I'll give you my copy.
It's all good. It's all good. I got other stuff. Xenoblade is going to I don't care if Final Fantasy VII shows up on the same day. I'm playing Xenoblade first.
I think Xenoblade is a fine game. I want to get into it and I want to love it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I get so confused about what's going on in that game.
Yeah, it's hardcore. It is. It's great.
And I remember I had
RPG to the max.
I remember years ago I saw it for the Wii used at a GameStop, and I was talking to my buddies let's just split it. We can play it together, and we were pretty young, and they're like, no, we don't need it. This is dumb. I'll never play it. Well, now the game is worth tons of money on the Wii, so I'm mad at myself for not doing it. And I started playing it on the 3DS, the version they had ported to there, and it was kind of difficult to play on the 3DS, I think, especially because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And then I bought the one on the Wii U, which made no sense to me because I thought it was continuation of a story it was just no idea what was going on. And then I got the second game, which came out on the Switch, which also confused me. So I think I've just had a very bad history with this game. Yeah. You guys all feel similar, or you guys all play it? I mean, Jaren, I know you love Nintendo, so I'm sure you have a great thought about this game.
For the last time, I don't hate Nintendo, Kevin.
Yes, he does. He doesn't have a Switch. He doesn't like fun family games. He's only into, Civilization.
Well, good luck trying to find a Switch.
Yeah, that's actually, unless you want a Switch Lite, I just bought my wife a Switch Lite, and I bought her a pink one. So,
honestly, I might have jumped on one earlier, but the whole issue with the Joy-Con joysticks, that whole problem with people saying there was major drift on it, or they just didn't at all. I'm
But it's not like it's...
Do I really want to get the light, because you can't detach...
Yeah, the light's like $200, and if you argue with Nintendo enough, you can get it fixed or something. I mean, buy it somewhere you can just return it, and it's not too hard to do, so... I mean, it's not like it's if it was like a $500 console, I'd get it, but $200, and if the thing breaks, you have a chance to get it fixed. I would take just go get a light. There's so many games you can play, and I think you'd really like it. Sorry, go on, Alex. We've derailed this completely about your...
Well, no, it does tie it into it. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a very, very excellent game on the Switch. It's one of the Switch's best RPGs. In my opinion, I should quotation mark that. But it plays awful in handheld mode. It looks like a PS2 game in handheld mode. It's one of those games that it needs all the juice the Switch can give it. So it's kind of like, I hear what you're saying. I want to be like, oh yeah, you can get a Switch Lite and play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not a good experience on like just taking it out of the dock is like, oh boy, that's a PS2 game. But yeah, the Xenoblade series is interesting. Like the first one is, it very much has almost an MMO style combat system, where you have your art bar. I forget what it's actually called, but they all have cooldowns, and you just kind of go through a cycle with your teammates to do damage. It kind of plays a bit like old WoW in that sense. And then Xenoblade Chronicles X, the one on the Wii U that you would have played, shares a combat system, but is in it's basically not in an anime world. It's in a really heavy sci-fi world, kind of like oh boy, I don't want to say Gundam because it's not really Gundam, but it's a lot more mecha anime than, yeah. And then you've got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which completely changes the battle system. The battle system in 2 is a lot more almost rhythm based. Like you still have your arts and their cooldowns, but you have to chain them together in kind of a bit of a rhythm to kind of build them up to their full potential. And it is full on an anime game. It goes hardcore into the chibiness. So it's a series that's like
I want to play that so bad.
Well, you can, and it's good because you can dive in at any point. Like you could start with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, even though it has a 2 at the end of it. It is not a continuation of 1 or X. Like they're all
Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Okay, one last question, then we can kill this whole thing. Move on to the news. But I know they also have a different game that's like, is it DLC for the second one that came out?
Oh, yeah, Torna the Golden Country. So Torna the Golden Country is a standalone expansion.
Okay, so it's like it's a standalone game though. It's not, you don't need...
It's a 40-hour game.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a 100-hour game, so it's a half of that. Wow. But it's it's a standalone game. Have
you played that all the way through?
Yes, I have. Yeah, wow. I have. It's a prequel. I feel like it's too new to talk too much about it. It's less than a year old, so like spoilers. And it's a prequel, so like you can't talk about it without diving really into the story of Xenoblade. But no, Torna the Golden Country is very, very good. Those games have like seriously high production values. I know Monolith Soft is the developer that does them, and they did the open world for Breath of the Wild. Like that was their whole thing because they did such a good job at doing it in Xenoblade games. So I recommend all of it. I mean, I could talk about Xenoblade. All right. So we've got a Star Trek podcast. We have a Bethesda Sucks podcast, and now we have a Xenoblade podcast.
Welcome to our new gaming network.
There we go.
Yeah.
A Star Trek podcast. We can really venture out, guys.
I would do a Star Trek podcast in a heartbeat. So that's what I've been playing. Just a lot of smaller stuff, gearing up to Xenoblade Definitive Edition, because with Xenoblade 1 being locked to the Wii and the new 3DS where you would have played it, none of those systems are particularly good at graphics. No. The Switch is pretty good at graphics, so it'll finally give that game a real chance to shine. So I have the special edition pre-ordered. I am very much looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, diving into the news then. So the first thing that I wanted to bring up is we'll talk about Battlefield 5. So Battlefield 5 is getting its last major content update this summer. So DICE has confirmed that. So I'll go through here kind of the details.
So before you do that, who here has played Battlefield 5 and/or still plays Battlefield 5?
I do not play it.
That's exactly where I'm at.
But
too.
I have played.
So I got the whatever edition that you get with the Game Pass or whatever through EA. Yeah. I played the heck out of that for like 2 months in a row. Got every weekly unlock, every edition of all of that, and then after like 3 months, 3 months, most boring game ever, playing on the same 5 maps over and over and over and over and over again. Uninstalled it and haven't looked back. And I guess they've done loot crates and pay to win stuff. Yeah, I know, right? So that's my experience with it. I loved it, but then fell off after a short time.
The Battlefield franchise personally has never really interested me so much. So it was never, even as a shooter, not something I kind of gravitated towards.
Okay. All right, you can go on, Alex.
Sorry. Well,
just curious.
Quick thought on Battlefield 5 or the Battlefield series in general is that I grew up, like, my shooter growing up, like when I was a teenager, was Call of Duty, and I played Modern Warfare, I played Black Ops for like hundreds and hundreds of hours. I love those games. And then when I was like, oh wow, I could also play Battlefield, and I started playing those games, I was like, oh, this is not the same game at all. This is not just I always used to make the joke, it was like, oh, these are just, military shooters and they're kind of interchangeable, but they're really not. Battlefield's a lot more team-oriented, a lot more technical, and it's too bad that for me at least, I just couldn't get into it because I really liked the idea of Battlefield 1. I liked that they was exploring that historical period, even though it kind of put its own like spin on it. I mean, your gun doesn't take 15 minutes to reload in the game, but and the tanks don't drive it. I think World War I tanks typically did like 3 miles per hour
in real life. That. Yeah.
So yeah. Not incredibly hard to get out of the way of them.
It's gonna run me over. No.
Yeah, in a few weeks, if it doesn't get caught in the mud. World War I, a summary. So Battlefield 5 is getting its last major update this summer. So I'll just go through what they've said. So a new major update, the last one coming this summer. Weekly rewards. Following the summer update, you'll receive Battlefield currency or company coin as weekly rewards, giving you a chance to unlock gear you might have missed. Events and activities. We're also planning various weekly initiatives, such as the reintroduction of #Friday Night Battlefield servers, where the community can play Battlefield 5 in a friendly atmosphere, as opposed to an unfriendly atmosphere. Throwback Thursdays, where we'll Throwback Thursdays, where we'll look to bring you together across all of our Battlefield titles. All of our Battlefield titles are in the works too. Okay, and they're continuing to work on community game updates. And last quick little note is that this update is codenamed Libya. Sounds to me.
Yeah, I don't know about that. See, sorry to cut you off. This hits into like the 3 key things why I think Battlefield 5 didn't really work out the way that they wanted. One was the introduction of all these alternate currencies and, play dress up doll. They tried to learn from the lessons of Battlefront 2, and Battlefront 2 flopped hard. And they basically
it was bad.
Used the exact same engine and were trying to use the exact same business model with just a reskinned environment. And people don't like having 9 different types of currencies when you don't know what you're paying for and is this better than the other. The second thing I really think that was their downfall, and they were trying to go for something good here, but when you have 64 people on the map, you need to play in squads together. You need to have a balanced squad of assault and engineering and medics. And if you don't have people working together for an objective, you should just go play Call of Duty. Because the games were not fun at all because the maps themselves weren't poorly balanced. It was just one team would end up working together. At least some of the people on the team would work together. And then everyone else was just, how many kills can I get? Because I want to unlock the gold version of this gun. Yeah, and it just was not fun.
They're trying to take a very complicated type of game that is a little bit more hardcore, I guess you can say, where it is take a little more skill, it takes a little more thought out, and they're trying to make it accessible to everybody. And as soon as you do that, you either have the group that wants to play a little bit here and there for fun, and then the group that wants to play hardcore, and you can't make them both happy. And
playing for fun.
For fun, I mean, like, you're not going to spend a lot of time and unlock everything. Like, you're trying to just jump in there. You jump in and you're in a squad, and you have the responsibility. You need to be a medic to help balance your team out, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're just running around trying to kill people like it's Call of Duty or Fortnite or something, and just trying to have a good time, and it throws the whole balance off. So I think
64 people in any match.
I mean, yeah, you're going to get some
is going
to
lead to that.
Going on in that with that many people.
Yeah.
I think the accessibility of it is they're trying to have more people playing it, because the more people that play it, the more people that can make money off microtransactions and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the third part of it is, and this is a big criticism of the game, that they released it a year too early because Battlefront, I think, flopped so hard. EA wanted something for the stock price to stay up. Every single map was somewhere in Europe or North Africa. And when you said this expansion's Libya, I'm like, well, they kind of already did that. And maybe, I just stopped following the game, but they had so many theaters around the world, and their explanation, it was really an excuse, was, well, it's really hard to make brand new assets for every theater and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you didn't do the Eastern Front. You didn't have the Soviet Union versus, the bad guys from World War II fighting. You didn't do anything in the Pacific, and there's so many theaters.
Do you think the whole World War II, World War I time period is just overplayed? Do you think it's done? And do you think
it's oversaturated?
Do you think it's just been? I feel like when the first ones came out, when I think Call of Duty went back there with whichever called World War II, I think is which it was, Call of Duty World War II.
Yep.
That was the start of it, and I just feel like there was a lot of games that just are coming out again, and it felt like that was the right time. It's been about 10 years since the last one with World at War. And now I think all these games going back to World War II type area, I think it's good, but I feel like it's okay. We've had enough of 4 years of World War II stuff again. Let's go back to modern day. So
it's shocking to me.
No, go on. I'll lead into my next one after this.
It's shocking to me how those two series, Battlefield and Call of Duty, have three ideas. It's either a World War II game, it's either a near future game, or it's a far future game. Those are their three ideas, and they keep going back to that well over and over again, which it really is disappointing, because every time they do something unique, it ends up becoming what they always do. Like Black Ops, the first Black Ops, there's not a lot of games set during the Vietnam War and also like dealing with that like kind of like covert CIA type of
operations
idea. And then I was like, okay, cool. Like there's going to be this like kind of a bit more unique Call of Duty game. Yeah, and then Black Ops 2, 3, and 4 are futuristic shooters.
Yeah.
With no personality whatsoever.
Leading with that then, so where do you guys think the next game's going to go? So I'm assuming next year we're probably going to get a new Battlefield game of some sort. Where do you think they're going to take the franchise this time? You think they're going to stick back then, or they're going to
seeing as how the when are they planning to release Battlefield 6? Between April 2021.
There's nothing about it. But what do you think? They're working on something. DICE has got something going on. They're trying to figure out. Do you think they're going to try to keep it back then and like, oh, you know what, we're the only big game out here doing old school World War II stuff, or do we pull it forward and all of a sudden we're back in modern day? Or even, they even did future before. I think Battlefield 2142 or something. There was like that futuristic one. Yeah. So maybe that's where they take. I don't know. But
between now, so the game is launching in between April 21, fall April 21 and March 2020 or 2022. That is about another year and a half, 2 years almost away.
I have no idea what's coming.
There's so many avenues. I just wish they'd do something new.
So here's the answer to when it's going to come out. It's not when it's ready. It's not, when. It's entirely on when is Apex Legends or FIFA dropping off, when is Battlefield 5 not making X amount of money per quarter, right? That's when 6 is going to come out. As EA said in their earnings call, like they say this every earnings call, but they're going more and more heavily into like live service games.
God.
So it's your Apex Legends, your FIFA. If you actually look at what EA is supposed to be releasing this year, it's another Madden game, it's another FIFA game, it's another like football manager game.
It makes them so much money though. So it's, I mean,
and then it's you might get one original title, like the Star Wars game last year, the Jedi one. The name of it.
Fallen Order.
Is getting away from me.
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order was a pretty good game. I'd give it like a B plus. I think
that's about what I gave it actually, and I reviewed it on our website. Come check out Link Table.
Well, there you go. But I mean, they're going to be making more of that, but they didn't already know it was going to be so successful, so they're going to have a ramp up time for that. I would say maybe late 2021 or 2022, and if they haven't already announced a sequel, it'll probably be 2022. But they don't have anything else because Andromeda did not make them the money, and it's hard for them. Mass Effect Andromeda did not make them the money, and it doesn't fit into that business model. So if you actually look, I don't see why you would buy the EA Game Pass unless you knew you were going to play FIFA and Madden and the next Battlefield almost exclusively in your life, you know.
I actually do have a theory on a potential next, at least, DICE game that would be coming out, and I hope it's going to be released soon. I would like it to be at the Microsoft Direct or the Inside Xbox. That is my hope, and it would be the new Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
It'd be time for Dragon Age. Yeah.
Dragon Age 4. I think it would be a good time. It's right after Fallen Order. Instead of it being futuristic and Star Wars setting, it takes us back to more of a medieval-esque.
That would be BioWare. Sorry, wouldn't that be BioWare making that one?
But DICE.
EA.
DICE is making...
EA has it.
Or EA in general. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's on the. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's using some of the elements.
Yeah, I didn't play through the last one with Inquisition. I played a little bit, but
I love.
Was it that good? I can't remember. I remember I played it for a bit, but I never really got into it too much because I was.
I gave it about 15 hours, Kevin, and I'm like, I just don't have the time when I was playing through it.
I remember a lot of busy work.
It is a massive game. Massive game. I beat it, and then I just want to finish the last DLC for it, and then I'll be done with it. It's a beautiful game. I love it. Right now, I'm in the last DLC, and it's so emotionally driven. I'm like, every scene is a gut punch. They really... Of the 3 games, it's the most well-fleshed. I find it. I love it.
My bet for a new Battlefield game, if there is going to be one, it's time to do another Bad Company game.
I was going to yes!
Everybody wishes for that, but are they really going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, how are they going to monetize that?
Yeah, that's the thing.
On a weekly basis.
They want those games as a service type of thing where it's like they can keep it...
It's a shooter. You could just do what you did with Battlefield 5 and do it again.
Think they're gonna make it
call it Bad Company 3
turn it into like an Apex thing where it'll be a free-to-play game with the 5 currencies, and then they take away the fun.
I can't handle live
You're
service.
You're hurting my brain.
That's what I don't want.
I think you're right.
It's so sad. That's what they do and those are the games that are popular. Your Fortnite. You've got Apex. How many games keep coming out that are like that? It's like, the game's free to play. And we're all going to be doing it, and it's like, okay, it's free, so you get to play it right away. But then all of a sudden, it's like, well, you're going to get hit with some kind of cost somewhere about something, and
there's no soul to it.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a cookie cutter game that it's easy for everybody to play, and it's so approachable, and you don't have to pay if you want, but you're not going to be very good, but that doesn't matter because you're just playing for fun anyways. You're not a gamer, and.
See, I would like 6 to go back to Vietnam, because, and here's the reason, people didn't like Battlefield 1 because, there was one half that said the weapons are not realistic to what was actually in World War I, so it's not realistic. Let's, I just don't like the game. The other ones were kind of like, I like these. I like the shotguns, I like the machine guns, but they're not balanced well because they're not actually real weapons from World War I. So I think Vietnam, you had the AKs, you had M16s, you had a lot of that kind of stuff that is modern-y enough that the Call of Duty folks will like those types of guns, because the gun fetish thing is kind of, people like having a million different rifles and stuff to play with instead of being historically appropriate. So I think
why not something just go crazy and go heck, go do a pull-in Assassin's Creed Valhalla and just do an old-time PC setting, Why not something like that? You got your medics in that sense. I don't know.
Well, they could do like a Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. I don't know if anyone has seen that be played before.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched it?Alex is laughing.
Yeah, I've seen Bannerlord.
That seems like it could be fun. It's still in early access, but
last part about this, and we move on to the next story. But do you guys remember the Lord of the Rings game that DICE had made? I think it was DICE that was a part of it. Was like on the Battlefield engine. It was called Lord of the Rings Conquest. It was.
I've never.
It was like a small little niche game that I think was supposed to be way bigger than it really came out to be, and people did not really like it that much. But it was really fun. I used to play that quite a bit with some of my friends. I wish they could do something like that again, because it's nice to get off of guns and weapons like that and do something a little bit different, like bow and arrow and magic and stuff. It's neat.
Yep.
Yeah, because Far Cry Primal, everyone remembers and loves that game, right?
I love all the Far Cries, but hey.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about Far Cry.
Really? Oh man, I loved the one where they were in Tibet. I thought it was a beautiful looking game, and
Far Cry 4 had its fun moments for sure. It's just too mindless for me. I guess that's what inevitably gets me in the end of those
games.
There's
a lot of mindless games that are like that. Oh gosh. All right, Alex, take us to the next story.
All right, so next story is a bit of next-gen news. So we've been a bit starved for it, especially since we're 5 months away from the supposed launches of the Series X and the PlayStation 5. But Microsoft Executive Vice President, I'm just reading this out, I don't actually have this prepared, of gaming and head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, said that the beer virus won't impact when Microsoft launches its next-gen game console. He did say, however, that it might impact game launches and the titles that will be available. So his exact quote was, "Overall, I think we're in line with where we thought we would be. I'd say the bigger unknown is probably the game production. Game production is a large-scale entertainment activity now. You have hundreds of people coming together, building assets, working through creative issues, and that might hold up the games that'll come to the Series X, but not the console itself." So I guess, what are you guys' thoughts on that? What do you think about launching the Xbox Series X without as many games that are either exclusive or specifically use the Series X to its full advantage?
Well, I think we're forgetting one part about this is Game Pass. I mean, that's going to be playable on Xbox Series X. So, I mean, even at the start, if you don't own any games or you've never owned any system before, you got Game Pass, you got a lot of games already, a couple hundred. So, I mean, it's not necessarily an advantage. I don't think they're going to run too much different than an Xbox One X if you have that already or had that. So,
but the teraflops, it has so many more teraflops.
Teraflops, depending on how you measure it. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. They haven't even really released what games are coming out for the Xbox Series X, anyways. Which I think we're going to find out more this upcoming week, hopefully. So it's kind of it's a hard news story to even give too much of an opinion on when it's like, we have no idea what they even plan on having come to know what's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
So
that's in case no one listening was aware, there is an Inside Xbox on May 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, where Microsoft
Wednesday,
has...
right?
Thursday.
On May 7th, I said.
7th is...
May 7th
Thursday,
is a Thursday.
Nice.
Thursday.
So during this Inside Xbox, they will be premiering Xbox Series X gameplay. They haven't said which games. Ubisoft has come out and said that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will have gameplay shown there. But yeah, just wanted to make sure everyone was on the up and up. There is an Inside Xbox next week, probably their biggest one ever, as it is going to be the blowout of, what we hope is Series X gameplay.
So I would say that the number of launch titles does not matter at all.
You don't think?
I don't think it does, because we'll go back a ways to my favorite and first console, which totally blows Kevin's I hate Nintendo theory out of the water. Nintendo 64. Its launch titles in Japan in '96 in the summertime. You had 3: Pilot Wings, some one I can't really pronounce, and then Super Mario. The US, it had 2 launch titles: Pilot Wings and Super Mario. In Europe, in spring in '97, it had 6. It had FIFA, Pilot Wings, Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, but that was normal. This is a different. This is a different world. I mean, it is. It's.
But my point is, you can launch a console, and especially with a lot of the indie games and things like that in the Microsoft library or the Xbox Live library that don't really even need GPU acceleration. A lot of the indie stuff. They've got stuff there. You can launch the title. They can still keep, the Netflix streaming box thing going. There's other stuff. N64 only had 2 titles, and they still launched it with 2, and it took off. I don't think you're doomed just because you don't have a massive library on launch. And it's not like Sony is going to have a significantly better circumstance either, right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it's a bad thing.
I think what the big news out of all this is the fact that they're taking the first leap and they're like, suck it, Sony. We're coming out. We're telling the world what we finally have, what's going on. We're revealing all this. And Sony, we don't know anything. We have a controller. We talked about episode 0 of the show, I think is what it was, and the controller, that was it. There's nothing about PS5 we know about.
Yeah, and that was...
So it's...
Wild.
Go on.
Wild to think about. That was a month ago.
It was. And we still have nothing. We still have nothing else on that console. Yeah.
Oh man,
so
that's crazy.
People are going to be definitely paying attention to what's going on with Microsoft because they don't even have anything to look at for Sony. All right, go ahead, Zai. Sorry.
I don't know why they would release a console. What is the point of having the Microsoft Series X? Just for the Games Pass?
So you're locked into their ecosystem and you spend money on their ecosystem and everything like that. That's what it's for.
I have a thought on that.
But there's nothing that the console is offering different that I can't get from my Xbox One.
So I have a thought on that. I think that the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are both going to be prohibitively expensive when they launch. They are the level of computing power that is reported to be in these systems is extremely high. It's a huge jump going from for a console. Yes, for a console. For a PC, you're good. But it's going from even the Xbox One X or the PlayStation 4 Pro over to a Series X or a PlayStation 5. You're probably going to end up with a very prohibitively expensive console, and I think they're getting them out this year to sort of get the production lines going, get them into the early adopters' hands, get the word of mouth going, because both Microsoft and Sony have said that games are going to still come for their older systems for a time. Actually, I think Microsoft even said they gave a time. They said until the end of 2021, everything on Xbox Series X will also be on Xbox One.
Right.
So there's less of a drive, I think, to... This isn't about selling you on replacing your old Xbox. This is about that transition into, look at this really high-end game experience you can have.
And this is probably the best $500 to $600 gaming PC on the market in a mini ITX form factor. I mean, that's really what it is. It's an AMD gaming PC between $500 and $600. And given that they can capitalize on buying 5 million of this form factor case, you're able to get economies of scale to get that price down, where if you're going to do a build your own, you're probably going to be spending an extra $50 to $100 to get something. It might actually be a little bit better for you because you can put Windows or Linux on it and use it for more than just games,
but
right?
You're also you're selling a market of people who play Madden and Call of Duty, and that's it, and they don't have any knowledge. They don't even know what the word Linux means or operating system or driver. So I mean, these are not to say that these are the dumb people buying it, but the average person just wants to. I plug it in, I hit install, I'm done, we play, and they play those 3 games that come out every year. They get their FIFAs and all that, and they're happy. And I've got plenty of friends that just do that, and they have no idea. Why would you ever need a PC when I have my Xbox? Which I know if I told that to you oppositely, you'd be freaking out. Like, what the hell? So it's...
Yeah. in Tahiti, your question, who would actually be buying this? It's the first adopter people that have to buy that $1,200 iPhone or Galaxy, even though their 1-year-old phone works just shiny. Fine.
There's tons of those people too.
Right. The new shiny, and they'll look at the specs and say, "Oh my gosh, these numbers and specs." And I'd ask them, "Okay, what does that mean? Can you define what 1.2 teraflops means?" So you can see
who here is buying one and who's not.
Okay, guess.
I still want my Xbox Series X. It's the console I want between the two. It has the thing that's selling me for it is Halo Infinite. So I want to get it in preparation for Halo Infinite for sure, even if it is early. But I agree with you, man. It's just when I rationalize it. There's just not much that's going to be there other than the actual physical console itself to entice me me more.
I bet you after Thursday you might have a different opinion next week. So.
I will have a 100% different opinion.
What I will bring people back down to earth. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, I want to bring people down to earth after this video that's going to come out where everything's going to be in 4K 60 and all this stuff.
Oh, God.
Well, okay, I could put up Solitaire on 4K 60 on the Xbox One, right? But it's not going to be, it's going to be like letterboxed. It's going to be, on that Borderlands graphics setting, it's going to be the lowest setting you can possibly have to get these boxes to hit.
I agree with what you're saying.
So what do you really want that? I mean, resolution for itself doesn't necessarily mean better experience, smoother experience. If they told me 1440p or 1080p, but we're going to put it at 120 hertz for your TV so it's smoother, and the graphics fidelity is going to be at ultra instead of at very low, I'd prefer that, but
you're too smart for
people
this.
Just see 4K, 4K, 4K.
People, I mean, okay, 8-9 years ago, 4K TVs are coming out, and there wasn't one thing in the world that even supported 4K, and people were still buying 4K TVs. So you get buzzwords and get people excited. It's all marketing and it's all whatever. Regardless of what actually is happening, people are going to buy it. And I think of what you said, like, I could, I think two things. One, I think we're going to be a little bit surprised by what they're going to actually be able to do with this thing, because nobody has any idea, because it's all proprietary stuff. So it's hard to compare specs to specs because of this is running whatever. Who knows how this operating system is going to work? Maybe it's so good and they're able to optimize it like insanely, or it's a complete trash, either or. And at the same time, I think that people who know nothing about what you just discussed, so pretty much the opposite person of you in real life, they're like, oh, I can play something in 4K, and they have no idea there's different levels of graphics and textures, and they're like, it's 4K, who cares? I tell my friends I play in 4K. That's all I need to know. So
it is a very big buzzword.
That's all itself. It is. It's a trick.
Remember, I like the how circular or like kind of like neatly tied this conversation is, because it started. We talked about the Nintendo 64 launch, which is a console literally named after the fact it has 64 bits, and that's better than anything else. So I just like that. There is an interesting wrinkle that I think a lot of people didn't quite notice. It was talked about during the Assassin's Creed Valhalla reveal. That it is going to be leveraging Xbox Smart Delivery technology. So Xbox, what Smart Delivery is a feature of the Xbox Series X and I guess the Xbox One, where you buy let's say you buy Assassin's Creed Valhalla for your Xbox One. If you get an Xbox Series X, you don't need to pay. You have a free upgraded copy of it going forward.
Absolutely.
And that is, Microsoft has said that. Cyberpunk 2077 is also doing it. And CD Projekt Red has confirmed that. And Microsoft has also confirmed that Halo, I'm just reading this as it goes on, so that's why it's kind of
absolutely.
One after another. Halo Infinite. If you buy it on Xbox One and then you get a Series X later, boom, you have it for free on your Series X. It's playable with all its features.
I don't think Sony has come out and said that that's the same thing for their system as well.
No, they have 100 of the best PS4 exclusives.
That's what that guy's name we can never remember that we got yelled at. Mike Cherry or whatever.
Reggie.
I can never remember that guy's name.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
But that's great. It should be that way. I mean,
it should definitely be that way.
Steam's been around for what? Almost
2
20
decades?
years now. Yeah, something like that. And I mean, games you bought back then, if all of the software still works and you don't need a DOS box or something, it'll still play. Right? It'll still play, and they're not asking for you to buy it 20 times. And a lot of times, like Microsoft will go back and touch up like the old Age of Empires. They might say, "Hey, our updated textures. Do you want to pay $4 for it?" No, okay, that's fine. But
that's really smart.
Here's
smart.
the better way to do it.
Microsoft's the best at that out of any of with Nintendo being the worst, because they'll re-release it and then make you pay for it again, and all us idiots keep buying them over and over. Look at Alex; he's about to buy.
Oh, I can't wait for
Xenoblade again, and he's probably already bought it twice already.
Nintendo spent so much time going after ROMs. It's like if you had just made one central repository for all your Nintendo games over time, so that way when I go from the Wii U to the Switch, from when I go from the 3DS to the Switch, I can still play them.
Yeah,
they would sell way more of them instead of the piracy. But that's a tale of old time with that.
Library is Wii U ports.
So
the amount of things.
So before we move on to our next topic of conversation, what does everyone think the actual next game? Or what are some games that you think, like, if you could pick one or two, maybe? What are some games you think that are going to be showcased at Direct? I guess other than Valhalla, because they've already announced that.
I have a boring pick. I have a boring pick and an interesting pick. I've thought about this. So the boring pick is Microsoft's going to make a really big deal about Sea of Thieves coming to the Series X. They love Sea of Thieves. I like Sea of Thieves. They just
love the studios they own. That's all it is. Because they can put it on Games Pass. They're like, oh, we own Rare, and it's on Games Pass. Yeah. Come play it, along with all these other boring games.
I believe they announced Senua's Sacrifice, which is another studio they own. 2.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. That's nice.
But if it doesn't have RTX, I don't care.
Such a PC master.
The first, I'll just keep playing the first.
Have it.
Oh, but I'll just play the first one again if I want to, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it'll have a good story. Okay. I don't want to hate on it.
Alex, your pick.
What was that?
Sea of Thieves. Zahi, what are you thinking?
Oh, hold on, Alex. You said you had an interesting pick. What was the other one?
The interesting pick would be that they make a good Battletoads game.
Yeah, because they still have to release that, right?
I'd love that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, because the last one that just came out was
that one. It is out. I don't even remember coming out. It was that.
Yeah. It is. Oh, wow. It is, and I did not hear good things about it either.
Interesting. All right, Zahi, now you go. Sorry.
I guess I would have to pick. Well, obviously Halo Infinite. They have to do something. I think Halo's going to be their flagship launch title for the console itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Halo is what launched the original Xbox into console stardom, and I think they're going to try to. I think Xbox is really doing a good job of making old gamers feel inclusive. But the two picks I think are going to come across are. Again, my main pick is Dragon Age 4, which is hopefully going to be set into Winter. That would be really interesting. And the other one it would have to be is Elden Ring, which I believe I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if anyone has heard of Elden Ring. I see some nods with you guys. Elden Ring is the new game from Software. Their last game was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. And then
actually, no, I will correct you. Their last game was Metal Wolf Chaos XD.
Oh my God, totally forgot that even came out. And then that's where my chips are falling. I'm hoping for Elden Ring because other than the one trailer they announced, we've had like nothing.
Yeah,
nothing. And
I think that was a next gen game. Like they showed it at their like
100%
2 weeks ago, but it was
they didn't know what was going on yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were like George R.R. Martin from Software. Whoa! A guy's hammering a thing. Like that was
the next.
That was it.
Yeah.
So. Weird pick on this. I believe Fable 4.
Damn it, that was my pick. That's my pick. Don't say that. You're not coming on this podcast tonight. Damn it.
I want Fable 4.
That's what I want so bad too. I would be so happy.
The rumor mill on Fable 4 right now has been spiking, and I'm just I want that.
That's like the Microsoft thing that I've always loved. Like Fable is just the best.
The studio is out of
Lionhead,
business, though, right?
I think
we're
it's
not
defunct and it doesn't technically exist.
Yeah, they did re-release it on Steam, and there's Steam achievements for it and all that. And I played through like 20 hours on that, but I didn't finish it. But yeah, it was good times. It was good times, even all the way back then.
What I wanted to play.
So.
I really want them to announce so I can play, but
that would be nice.
I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but we can dream. Well, now I have to think of something else to say because that's what I was gonna say. I don't even like new Project Gotham Racing. What something I just don't care.
Halo Infinite.
I don't know. What's another like Xbox exclusive? Like I don't even know.
A Forza game. Either I don't know. 7. They've been stuck on 7 for a long time, but they've actually been releasing cars pretty regularly for that. I don't know Forza Horizon what the state of the last one on that was, but I predict
Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 4 just got its Lego DLC, maybe almost a year ago.
It's pretty fun,
and it was really, really good.
Really fun. I even got it. I don't play that game very often. That was fun though.
Maybe an expansion for Gears 5.
Gears 5 could use an expansion. It could really use an expansion.
Okay, here's mine. Maybe a sequel to Sunset Overdrive. That would throw everything crazy because it was an Xbox exclusive. And the company just got bought out by Sony, which is Insomniac. So it'd be interesting to see if they had something in the pipeline already, and then they got purchased by Sony, and if they would still. This is a lot of ifs here, but I really enjoyed the first one, and I think that game definitely could get a sequel, and I would play it.
Yeah.
Wasn't Recore an Xbox?
Yeah, that was
exclusive.
Yeah, Recore.
I never played it.
They might do a Recore too.
It was okay. It was kind of cool. Okay. I liked its weird mechanics and it had an interesting couple of characters. I thought it was nice.
There's no love out here for Rise, Son of Rome.
You know what? I bought that with my Xbox One. I still have it sealed. Never played it.
Yeah. It's
short. It's short, but
yeah.
Okay, so Alex, you want to read the next story because I have a lot to say about this, and I want to use the last bit of showtime we have to argue about this. And I'm sure you guys are going to argue against me, so I can't wait.
So the last bit of news here, if you guys hadn't seen on the internet, that Ubisoft has announced full reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the next game in the Assassin's Creed series. Valhalla obviously being the Viking afterlife, so it's a Viking-themed game. It's set in during the Dark Ages. It is during the Dark Ages, right?
Roughly 1200.
Yeah.
12 to 1400.
Right, it's during the Viking invasions of England. I'm just not sure what we call that. So here I am on Ubisoft's website. Here are some things that are in the game. So you can lead epic raids, lead your people in massive assaults against Saxon armies and fortresses, and expand your influence far beyond your settlement's borders. Visceral combat. If you saw the trailer, should not be a surprise. It is a very brutal-looking game. Write your own Viking saga. The advanced RPG mechanics of Assassin's Creed Valhalla give you new ways to grow as a warrior and a leader, influence the world.
Song?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Can I use my MIDI keyboard attachment to create new music? And
I mean, you can already write music in Animal Crossing, so
write your bard story, Alex.
You have to learn how to read music.
Next point is actually pretty interesting because I think it's going to bring in a city building element because it has grow your settlement. So grow and customize.
I'm trying to get everybody.
Grow and customize your own.
You like city builders? Come over here. You like turn-based? You like writing music? Come play our game.
Fallout 4.
This is everything. Okay, I'm gonna jump in. Or you think you read the line that I want to read?
Sorry, Alex.
There's one more.
Okay,
there's one more, and
I'm sure it's I'm gonna hit you through the internet, but go for it.
All right. Well, I'm following what the website says. It says, share your custom raider. Create and customize your own mercenary Viking to share online and reap the spoils when they fight alongside your friends.
Cool. That's a low DLC price of $400 per,
right?
Gauntlet or something.
All right, here's my fear with this game. All right, you ready?
God, I hate the adverts.
And I know all of you have a different opinion on what I'm about to say because we've talked about games like this in the past. But this is what scares me because I like Assassin's Creed. I'm playing through them all right now. I'm on Black Flag. I'm about to start. I'm about to play Rogue or Unity, but I'm not sure which one I should play first because it's kind of a weird timeline of which one should play.
Unity.
See, Okay, I say Rogue because Rogue was the last gen game, right?
It was.
So if you do Rogue first and then go into Unity, it kind of has a nicer
and I'm also
flow.
torn. Do I play it on Xbox 360 or do I play it on PC? I don't know.
That doesn't matter.
It all matters to me. I don't know why. Anyways, the line in this article.
Play it on PC so you get to keep it longer, Kevin.
Yeah, right. That's what I would think.
Yeah, but it's kind of nostalgic playing on 360. I don't know.
Play with a 360 controller on
PC. There you go. I could do that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so here's the line in this article that's got me worried. It says, blah, 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 blah. Speaking to Australian website Press Start, he revealed the upcoming installment will feature a very different take on RPG mechanics. For instance, traditional levels are gone. And what scares me is this is going to be a Dark Souls game. And if this becomes a game where it's brutally hard and I can't play it, I'm going to be pissed. Because I like the way Assassin's Creed is different than Dark Souls and how it does have... I played a bit of Origins and a little bit of Odyssey, and I like that the system they have where it's very traditional RPG type. But if somehow this combat turns into like a Sekiro or shit like that I just do not like, and I feel like the fighting is supposed to be the experience and all this, if that happens in this game, I'm pissed. Because I don't want to play it anymore, where it's just useless combat and there's no progression based on that, and that's what I'm scared about. So someone argue against me.
So from what I saw from the trailer, the end boss of that trailer, the big mountain dude, it kind of looked like that, man. Yeah, the way he was kind of picking away at him and with the final thrust, that's kind of honestly the vibe it gave me without even knowing that it's going to be removing levels. I feel like it is.
I don't like that. I want levels.
I feel Souls,
like progression.
Souls
Why do we get rid of things that are good? Who doesn't like leveling up? It's like the best.
I don't think it's going to be leveling like numbers. I think it's going to be leveling skill points. I think it's going to be leveling your characters.
Like this different take on RPG mechanics. I think they're going. Everybody wants to play those Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Sekiro type games, and that's what's
for a reason. They're fun.
No, it's not.
Awesome.
I hate those bad games. I just hate them all.
You loved Warhammer? I thought
Warhammer was
Warhammer what?
Yeah. 2. Vermintide, right?
Vermintide. Okay, I love Vermintide. I played
a Sekiro type game. That's a game. That's a social fun game.
But I'm saying the fighting could be more like that too. I mean, you don't know. I mean, until it comes out.
I'm just scared it's just really hard, tough boss fights and really hard trash mobs you're trying to fight, and it's not the game that I'm used to.
Oh, seeing as how we talked about Vermintide, we have a review of Vermintide up on our website that I actually wrote, so go check that out. Thank you for that plug.
I actually will. I'll go. I will do that.
I love 100% shameless.
I apologize for that.
No, plug away. Plug every.
So Kevin,
there's 3,000 of them.
So you all love
Kevin. I was gonna say I'm gonna argue not quite against your point, but maybe like 75% against your point. I loved the Assassin's Creed movie, and I know that. The idea is similar to the games, the concept, right?
With Fassbender?
Wait, isn't it Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah,
or is that that's Prince of Persia?
Oh, yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
Prince of Persia, yeah, with with Magneto.
I'm very confused.
I can't remember. There was an Assassin's Creed movie, I thought.
Yeah, there was.
And I liked it.
It was by Magneto, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the internet here.
So, I've gotten, like, on Steam sales and stuff, I've gotten some of the older games, like the 1776 one, Assassin's Creed 2 and 3.
Nice.
They were always far too linear and far too storytelling for me to like them, because you'd go through a tutorial on them, and then you'd sit through 20 minutes of video, and then I'd forget how to do the action that they just sent me through the tutorial on, because I didn't get to apply it enough. When I got what was the last one in ancient Greece? Odyssey.
Yep.
That one with like the 9 versions of the game. First of all, it was unplayable on Stadia in all the beta phases.
Everything's unplayable on Stadia.
On Stadia.
Wait,
did you play it on Stadia? Excuse me, but what?
Yeah, I did. I played it on the beta through your.
Time out.
Yes.
It's a trick. He played it on Project Stream.
Yeah.
He did not play it on Stadia. Calm down. He played it on the Project Stream, which was way better. Because you played it in Chrome.
Well, it was still laggy. But anyway, they gave you a full copy of the game if you played it for a certain number of hours on Project Stream's beta. Yep. So I played Odyssey, and I'm like, okay, this is open world, but I'm still sitting through 20 minutes of exposition, and I can't get into the game. You end up going 3-4 hours into the game before you actually get to wander around the world as a level 2 character. And I could see every little DLC spot that they wanted to just cash in on you, right?
I hate that.
My biggest fear is this game is going to be exactly like that. Lead epic raids, like I don't know about that, but write your own saga and grow your settlement. I'm just sitting here thinking somebody over at Ubisoft looked at Fallout 76 and said, "That's a great idea.
Oh, no.
Let's do that." Because when I see base building, I'm like, shameless.
God, no.
See,
shameless.
No.
You know what kids these days like is Fortnite. They like building, so we need to add that in our game.
They like
so
building
funny.
bases.
It's so funny. Like you jumped to Fortnite, you jumped to Fallout 76. When reading that, I thought of. Does anyone know of? It's a Super Nintendo game, ActRaiser.
Nope.
It's an action RPG. You run around, you fight monsters, you level up, but then you also build your little settlement, and you like have little people living in it. And it's a half city building, half RPG game. And I was like, oh, someone at Ubisoft played ActRaiser and was like, this is a good idea. We should do it today.
My mind immediately went to Fallout 4 and the Minutemen and
all you millennials.
God, I just couldn't do it, man. I can't handle that expression. Build your own base. God, no, please. I can't. That's my one gripe.
Right, well, the plus side for all of it though is all these things. I think we're going to find out more on Thursday. So I mean, it's hard to keep giving opinions in anything, but I don't know. Go on, Zai. Sorry, I keep cutting you off today.
No, I really. So I am a story narrative driven gamer. I could care less about the mechanics. I enjoy it. The mechanics are like my afterthought. But if you personally hook me into your game's like story and lore and everything is good and your characters are developed and your world is good, that's my hook into games personally. All that fluffy how you do stuff is really the tacked on. So I dislike the direction Assassin's Creed has taken, where I don't know why it's Assassin's Creed anymore. I really don't. I think they're just using the name and it's cashing in on the franchise.
Yep.
You know, it's just, this is not the Assassin's Creed I played in 2007, you know, in Jerusalem, and then 2 and 3, or it's just, it doesn't feel, and people a lot of people are complaining about that aspect of it. And I'm not like, oh, it's not the same game, but you're creating, and I like the idea that Assassin's Creed is going into different settings and time periods, but it doesn't feel Assassin's Creed-y anymore to me. I don't know what their narrative is.
It reminds me a lot of. Actually, no, I take it back. I don't know what it reminds me of. There's a series that kind of went off the rails in the same direction, but Assassin's Creed was going in such a nice direction where every game was getting closer and closer to modern times, as it was paralleling the story that was taking place in modern times. So it was kind of like building up to this point where it was going to be like, okay, what are your, not just like your ancestors, but what are your like direct descendants? How did they play into the story, which was going to be a really cool, I was hoping it was going to be a really cool end to it. And then they kind of, I think it was Unity was the one that just fell off the rails and no one liked it. Sorry, Kevin, I know you were about to play it, but no one liked it. And then it was just kind of from then they kind of like, all right, we need to go back to the roots. We need to figure out how to take the series in a new direction while keeping it real. And they went to the more mysticism side with Odyssey. Origins, thank you, is the one I keep forgetting its name. And now Valhalla, where they're dealing more with kind of the mysticism of the era. It's still historical, but it has, you know, the deities of the various religions and cultures built into it. And that's fine. It's not Assassin's Creed. It's its own thing, and the Assassin's Creed name is tied onto it.
They're just like, we got to keep this going. People are buying this shit. What do we do now? People want Vikings. Yeah. All right, let's do that. What other ways can we make money? Yeah. Like that's just how I would
appreciate it. I would appreciate Valhalla so much more if it was a standalone title. You know, if it just drop the Assassin's Creed. It's not the same franchise anymore. To me personally,
they're not even using like the 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this Black Flag was the last numbered in the series, so they're just. I don't know if I guess the question is what we're all getting at. Is the Assassin's Creed name hurting these type of franchises now, or is it helping it? Is having it called Assassin's Creed Valhalla good or bad? Or being called something else better or worse?
I think it's bad because you used to know, like, if you saw a game and it had Assassin's Creed on the box, you knew what you were getting into.
You knew what it was.
I have no idea how Valhalla will play. I'll find out on Thursday, but I have no idea how it's going to play. Odyssey and Origins did not play like Black Flag or Assassin's Creed 3, which 3 is fine, but 3 is very slow. Anyway, it's just it's not Assassin's Creed. It's something else. And Ubisoft says, hey, we still like money, though, and people will buy something called Assassin's Creed.
Well, I think it'll get hurt because Ubisoft has a way of just using the same name on everything forever. Tom Clancy has been damaged. A lot of the Tom Clancy stuff has been damaged.
My heart.
They love to use the same name for 1,000 games.
But I mean,
they milk their series.
Ghost Recon,
the Rabbids game,
Ghost Recon,
Rayman,
everything. Ghost Recon, everything. Even though if it plays
Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six, everything. Far Cry, everything.
They run it to the ground. Splinter Cell, R.I.P.
Going back to franchise.
Oh yeah, Alex's other grave.
They let die 10 years ago. This franchise, Splinter Cell.
That's what I just said. So
they
sad.
could make a really cool one. And it's like
Far Cry. Everything is just down the crapper. It's like they just keep. They just dish it out, overfeeding everybody.
Just Dance is their.
Oh my gosh!
Just Dance is the only franchise they have that has been consistent for 20 years. It's what it is. They don't even do
much different. It's just the same game. Here's some new music, and I mean, my wife loves that series, and she subscribes to the Unlimited, and it's on. You can get that on Wii, Stadia. You play on your phone. I mean, it's on everything. Yep. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for today's show. I think we've all kind of said our piece with Assassin's Creed. I'm sure, like we're all going to tune in on Thursday, though. Like,
Very much
excited to see.
It is must-watch gaming TV.
It's the first, during our period where an actual like big thing is happening.
Yeah.
Our E3 is canceled.
We have nothing else to look forward to in life at this point.
Yeah.
We're all stuck in quarantine. We need something to buy that's not groceries. Give it to us, damn it.
Or alcohol.
Yeah, that's about all I've bought lately.
All right. On that lovely note, so thanks everyone for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun too, listening to us rant and rave about all these games. So we've been Link Cable. My name is Alex. Kevin, Zai, and Jaren all joined this week. So tune back next week Sunday at 7. We'll have our regular show. So
we're back on regular scheduling this time.
No
technical issues. No technical issues, everybody.
Knock on wood. But this was a really good one. I hope you guys enjoyed. So we are live on YouTube and Twitch, and we are findable at a million different places. So you can find our podcast on Podbean, RSS, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, and now on linkcable.com on our very own website. So all our podcasts are listed there. That's the wrap up. Anything else anyone wants to throw in before we sign off?
So, Mick, I was going to just say, don't forget to send us an email at general.mail@linkcable.com and tweet us at linkcable1 and subscribe to us on YouTube, Mixer, and soon YouTube, Twitch, and soon to be Mixer. And like Alex said, any of your favorite podcasts. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining our show.
It's more fun if we just never get on Mixer and we say that line every week. Join us on Mixer.
Yeah, every week.
I think that's just like our thing now. We'll never be on Mixer.
Yeah.
And not that it matters because nobody watches Mixer. Sorry, Microsoft.
Ouch.
But Ninja's on Mixer.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Ninja's on Mixer.
Yeah, good for him.
And also, thanks so much for Jaren for joining us for our podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. I had a great time.
All right.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, anytime you want to chat. Well, not anytime. Sundays at 7 if you want to chat.
3 a.m. Hit up Alex. You know how to find him.
Yeah. I'd love to discuss. I mean, if it's Star Trek, yeah, sure.
All right, time to end Star Trek again. All right, guys.
All right, that's our cue. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
All right, see ya.